that it costs to sit up here. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight.
The Saints are looking real shaky right now, and Marvin Sapp, he might be trading his Sunday suit for an orange jumpsuit. Word on the street is the feds are allegedly circling Marvin for fraud. And to make it worse, the IRS might be on the hunt too. And just last week, folks were stunned when Marvin went viral for what looked like a straight-up church stick-up. He told his congregation to drop $40,000 right then and there. No questions, no excuses. That bold move didn't just shock churchgoers. It caught the Fed's eye too. Now whispers are growing louder. People saying Marvin might be doing more than just leading the choir, like allegedly snatching up church funds behind the scenes. And let's not ignore the talk about tax evasion. Folks are saying it's getting real messy behind those stained glass windows. So what's really going on with Uncle Marv? Gospel fans know him for hits like Never Would Have Made It and The Best in Me. But now he's trending for what many are calling a full-on church hustle. The internet exploded after a clip from the 2024 PAW convention in Baltimore surfaced, showing Marvin telling ushers to lock the doors while he demanded the cash. He literally had folks locked inside the church during the service, like locked in for real. And why? Because Marvin wasn't letting anybody step 1 foot out the door until that $40,000 was collected. It was giving more holy heist than sermon. Once that video hit the timeline, social media went off. People were calling it a full-blown hostage situation, but with hymnals and pews. And just when folks thought it couldn't get more wild, it did. Marvin didn't stop with just shutting the doors. Nope, he came through with a straight-up price list for freedom. He told the crowd that if each person dropped $20, then and only then would the doors be unlocked. And this wasn't some small gathering. We're talking over 2,000 people in total, both in person and tuning in online. That man wasn't playing. He had a mission and wasn't backing down till the collection plate hit $40,000. But wait, there's more. Just when it seemed like the madness was winding down, Marvin turned to the pastors in the room and hit them with a spiritual upcharge. While regular folks had to pay $20, pastors had to shell out $100 each. Why? Because, as he said, it cost us to sit at the altar. Like what? Even the pulpit wasn't safe from the hustle. The way Marvin was moving, you'd think he was hosting a VIP table at a nightclub and not leading a church service. In the video, Marvin broke it down like this. Just like folks in the Bible had to bring offerings and sacrifices back in the day, he claimed he was simply challenging his congregation to do the same. Except instead of goats or grain, he wanted cold, hard US dollars. $20 a head and they'd hit that $40,000 goal easy. That's how he justified it. Now, sure, we get what he's trying to say, but imagine being one of those 2,000 people, online or sitting in the pews, hearing all that go down live. Instead of feeling the spirit, it probably felt like being in line at the bank with pressure coming from the pulpit. People come to church expecting inspiration, not a bill. Encouraging folks to give, that's one thing, but the way Marvin laid it out, it came off more like a price tag than a prayer. This wasn't just a donation request. It felt like a full-on transaction. So picture this. Marvin's up there wrapping up the convention, everyone thinking it's about time to go home. And then out of nowhere, he hits the crowd with a loud, "Hold up, wait a minute." He wasn't ready to let anybody out just yet. Instead, he demanded that everyone stay put, no moving, no exits, until they all left together. But here's where it really took a turn. Before the ushers were even allowed to open the doors, Marvin told the crowd to march up front and drop that $20 first. Like pay to exit? For real? Now, the cameras didn't catch what was going on deep in the crowd, but sources say Marvin spotted a few people trying to slide out early, clearly not feeling the vibe or the pressure. And that's when Marvin snapped. He got heated and dropped that now infamous line, yelling for ushers to shut the doors. He wasn't just asking, he meant it. He truly believed what he was asking was light work and made it clear nobody's leaving until that cash hits the plate. According to him, giving is worship. So if you weren't giving, you weren't going anywhere. If you thought Marvin Sapp was doing the most Just wait till you hear what happened before he even hit the stage. Another preacher, a whole bishop no less, kicked things off by taking the so-called holy hustle to a whole new level. This man got up there and straight up started auctioning off blessings to the congregation like it was Sunday service meets Black Friday. No joke. He told the crowd that 12 people needed to drop $800 each for new beginnings. Then, just when folks thought he was done, he turned around and called out 25 more people to give $500 for closure. Like what? Closure with a price tag? That's wild. And get this, the bishop said God told him those specific people needed closure. But first they had to Venmo him. Yep, Venmo. You can't make this up. It went from laying hands to scanning QR codes real quick. And at that point, it wasn't even feeling like church anymore. It was giving spiritual sales pitch. Honestly, it's hard to believe these preachers weren't working off some kind of behind-the-scenes quota, because Marvin Sapp wasn't alone in this. The crowd saw the stunts, and once the footage hit social media, people lost their minds. The reactions online? Straight up chaos. Some were shocked, some were furious, and some just couldn't believe what they were watching. A whole lot of people were calling Marvin out, saying he was just masking greed with a little worship on the side, like a holy hustle with a gospel playlist. Folks were accusing him of using his position to trap people in church under the name of spirituality, all while chasing a bag. Some were saying it flat out, Marvin's out here turning the pulpit into a payday. And honestly, it hit a nerve. People online were venting hard, saying this is exactly why they're drifting away from the church. They're tired of leaders who preach about blessings but move like businessmen. The trust? It's cracking. And man, the internet went off. The comment section turned into a battlefield, some defending Marvin, some dragging him through the digital dirt. It got messy, but just as things were spiraling out of control, Marvin decided to speak up. He knew the heat was on, and if he didn't say something soon, it could get even worse. Now, in case you didn't know, Marvin Sapp is currently the head pastor at Chosen Vessel Church in Texas. And with all this drama swirling around him, let's be real, it's not a good look for that church. People are side-eyeing the whole operation, and honestly, a few church members might be thinking about dipping out for good. Marvin could feel the walls closing in, and you better believe he wasn't about to let his whole rep go down without a fight. Marvin knew the backlash was getting serious, so he went straight into damage control mode. He jumped on Facebook to try and smooth things over, addressing the controversy head-on. He claimed he never meant to make anyone feel trapped, pressured, or uncomfortable. But let's be real. Once the internet gets a hold of a moment like that, there's no easy way to walk it back. In his post, Marvin wrote, "Recently, a clip has gone viral of me challenging 2,000 individuals virtually and in person to plant a seed of $20. During an international gathering held at a convention center with over 4,000 people in attendance that evening, plus virtual viewers. In that same moment, I also challenged leadership to lead by example by sowing $100 that evening. I personally gave much more." He then addressed the part that got folks the most heated, the door locking. Marvin admitted he told the ushers to shut the doors, but insisted it was being taken the wrong way. Some have taken issue with the particular moment when I instructed the ushers rather firmly to close the doors during the offering. To those unfamiliar with the church context or who may not regularly attend worship gatherings, this has been misinterpreted as holding people hostage as well as offensive. So basically, he said it wasn't what it looked like, but the internet wasn't having it. Marvin doubled down, saying loud and clear, "This was never my intent." He insisted he wasn't trying to trap anyone, claiming he was just trying to create a safe space for folks to give their offerings without distractions. According to him, it was all about security and order, not control. He explained it like this: "The truth is, when finances are being received in any worship gathering, it's one of the most vulnerable and exposed times for both the finance team and security crew. Movement during that sacred exchange can be distracting and sometimes even risky." So in his words, telling the ushers to close the doors wasn't about pressure. It was about setting a calm, focused, and respectful vibe while people gave their money and the church handled the funds. But in the social media age, Marvin said it's too easy for short clips to go viral without the full context, and that's exactly what he believes happened here. Then, he pulled out the Bible to back up his moves. "Let me give you some biblical context," he said, "not opinions, not tradition, straight from Scripture." He pointed to 1 Chronicles 29, where King David gave generously for the temple and then asked his leaders to match that same energy. Marvin used that story to justify his own challenge, saying he was just following a biblical blueprint. So according to Marvin, what happened in that biblical story? The people didn't just give, they gave so willingly and so much that they had to start keeping records. Eventually, David had to tell them to stop because they had gone above and beyond the need. That's the angle Marvin stood on. He said, when someone asks for a specific amount, it's not manipulation, it's order. He called it scripture-backed, not shady. Yes, you saw a moment, Marvin said, but I invite you to understand the movement behind it. But honestly, the internet wasn't buying any of it. No matter how calm or biblical Marvin's explanation sounded, people online were not letting up at all. They dragged him from every direction, some even accusing him of disgracing the church and straight up scamming in the name of God. And once that video spread, there was no going back, and it didn't matter how much damage control he tried to do. The internet had already flipped the switch. Folks were reposting, reacting, and lighting up the comments. The court of public opinion had spoken, and it was brutal. But then things took a dark turn. Marvin is now speaking out, saying he's been getting threats, real ones. He claims people have been sending him messages so serious, they're saying they want to harm him. That's how wild this situation has gotten. From a church convention to viral controversy to now Marvin fearing for his own safety, the drama just keeps unfolding. Marvin took to the Ricky Smiley Morning Show to speak his truth. He said that ever since the video surfaced, it's taken a toll on not just him, but his kids too. He talked about how the backlash has hit home and shaken up his whole world, but now the streets are saying something real different. Whispers are getting louder that Marvin might be playing the sympathy card, not just because of the hate online, but because he could be facing something much bigger behind the scenes. Word is, he's using the threat claims as a cover-up, because allegedly, there's a possible fraud and tax evasion investigation heading his way. Yup. The talk is that the IRS is looking into Marvin Sapp, and it's not just random gossip. Some folks, reportedly even members from within the church, are saying the money collected at that conference wasn't even for the church, but for Marvin himself. All allegedly, of course. Once those claims about him keeping the money started going viral, people say it caught the attention of the IRS. And according to the streets, the feds didn't just scroll past, they started digging. Now, reportedly, the IRS did find something that looks shady, numbers that just didn't add up. And at this point, we need to talk. Because this whole situation is heating up fast and it's looking real messy from every angle. Honestly, it feels like a wild mix of context and chaos. Whether or not Marvin Sapp had good intentions, one thing's clear. He definitely told those ushers to shut the doors in a tone that was not light. And let's not forget, he told folks they could leave, but only after dropping $20 up front. That's facts. So now the big question is, was that move justified? And what about him backing it all up with scripture? Some people say that gave it credibility. Others say it made things feel even more off. Like, is Marvin just standing firm in his beliefs? Or is he twisting Bible verses to excuse a money grab? It's got people seriously questioning his motives and whether this was real leadership or something else entirely. So what's your take? Was Marvin out of line or just misunderstood? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this convo is far from over. And when you're done with that, make sure you hit up the next video, because this story, it's still unfolding.